Oh man, no one could have ever told me that this would happen. And just being here, I'm just reminded of the first day I walked into Liberation House. It was December 7th, 1973. Larry Farr, who was the court liaison officer for Liberation Programs, met me in court that morning. And he asked me one question: do you get high? And my answer was yes. And he said, okay, now I'm gonna see what I can do to help you with your issue, your drug issue, and the case that I was facing at the time for my crime. Wow, it's unbelievable. I am representing so many people. Dr. Fred Sheftel and Michael A. Harris, co-founders, Ted Tan, Louis DePietro, Beverly Traynor, Patricia Harrington, Pam Brickell, Harry Laban, Larry Farr, and Silas. Those were the visionaries. Those were the men that had a vision, and women, of giving addicts a second chance, an opportunity to heal from a dysfunctional past, to arise with a greater sense of their own essence, so that they can live whatever their desires or dreams were. So I'm representing all of that. This is a hallowed moment for me, and hopefully a source of encouragement to those of you who are on that trail, that path, that journey, just like I was, that you can get to the other side. There's a whole lot of hope, a whole lot of love in this process. I'm a recipient of hope and love from my experience here at Liberation House and as a part of drug liberation programs. Much love. I was standing holding my mama's hand, sweating. Oh man. And there was a song by the Delphonics. It was like, don't cry out loud, keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings, but I couldn't. I broke down.
Stand by you. But when you choose to do things to harm you, we stand by you too for programs such as Drug Liberation House. And as Malcolm's mother, I tell you from the bottom of my heart that my son's life was spared because of Drug Liberation House. I stood beside him. I would cook when they had family days. I would cook and bring all goodies here to share with everyone. But I never lost focus. What? Malcolm was here to save his life. And I give God the glory and all the praise because God did it. The program is real. You must be real. And love yourself because each of you are worth it. Love yourself. To thine own self be true. And in working this program, and when you really work it and you graduate, you will be thankful to God that you were obedient and you did what you had to do for you.
The time I was in the 3rd grade, it started going down. I didn't even know. I didn't know why I didn't give 2 flips about sitting in the classroom. My mind was on what just happened in my house last night. Anybody feeling me up here? And that stuff compounded, man. So I went from being this happy little kid to like, I didn't give a damn. I didn't think the government gave 2 damns about me or us. I didn't think a lot of the people, places in authority, I didn't think they cared much about us. So I stopped caring. And I started doing stuff that made me feel good. But that little kid, when my uncle saw me, gave me a nickname after them, Biggie. That little kid kind of like disappeared, man. I got suspended from school every year I was in school, except I think 3, kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd. I don't think Miss Watts kicked me out. You know? Yo, man, don't quit. Don't quit. Even if you leave here, don't quit. Nobody could have ever told me, ever. I was the baby, yo. I was 17. December 7th, I walked up in this piece, I was the baby. I was nervous. But you know I had my cool on. I wasn't going to. I watched how I stood, how I spoke. Y'all know the deal. For real. I didn't want nobody to know I'm freaking out. I got to be up in here or maybe go to prison. On April 2nd, 1974, I turned 18. And I opened up my eyes and I was in cell 42 on 6th Galley in Chester. I will never forget. You know what I thought? What the hell am I doing here? My mama didn't raise no criminal. But I was a convicted felon, yo. At 18. I remember there used to be a fire escape out here. And I was in a group called The Probe. And then y'all read the book, you get the description. And I was so depressed in The Probe, I got paranoid. And everybody in that piece started looking like demons, man. I'm serious. I was freaking out. They asked me to step outside the Probe group room while they convened. And I walked down the hall and out to the back fire escape, man. And I was thinking about jumping. I was thinking about jumping, yo. For real. And before I made that decision, somebody called me now. Come on back in. And I went in and sat down. This is what the probe is like. This is it. This is the setting. You here and everybody else over there. And what you got to do is cross over. Well, how you cross over? By getting real with it. By just getting real with it. Whatever you're struggling with. If you just start talking, eventually it's going to show up. And I told him how I was feeling, man. And I crossed over that day. I wanted to blow this piece up. I wanted to blow this up. Sometimes I felt like I was being manipulated. Like dudes was abusing their authority on me. I'm the youngest. I'm the littlest. I was a rookie. They was in phase 2, phase 3. I wanted to blow this building up. he was my friend. Fuck Liberation House. That's how I felt. That's real. I was like, fuck this joint. For real, for real. There was staff here. I can put it like this. Like one of the co-founders, Dr. Fred Sheftel. If it had not been for Dr. Fred Sheftel, your boy wouldn't be here right now. Because that man spoke words that pierced the darkness that was in my soul, yo. I had some darkness in my soul. And he spoke words that pierced it, man. Made some light. A little bit of light at a time, man. And I started changing how I was looking at myself, man. I felt the feeling up in here, and I wasn't high, and I was feeling good. I was like, how do you keep this feeling right here? What I gotta think every day. How I gotta walk every day, man, to keep this feeling right here, because if you leave me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And that's what they helped me to do, to build on that feeling. Then I have a sense of worth, man. I ain't a throwaway. Some of y'all might not be done with the hard knocks. That's just real. But I would say, and I would hope that all of us have this one thing in common. This one thing. Not the hood we grew up in, not our race, not our language. The one thing is that still small, is what they call it, that voice in there that says to you, you ain't that bad after all. Whatever you did. I cleaned a toilet bowl one day at King Plaza Mall in Brooklyn, yo. I was making $8 a week before taxes. And when the water settled on the bowl, I'll never forget it, yo. I looked and I saw my image. And that still small said to me, it's not over. Man, that was light. It was light for me, man. On May 1st, which, by the way, historically, is the anniversary of Liberation House. Liberation House opened up on May 1st of 1973. May 1st of 1976, I walked down the first flight and then the second, and out the door. I was through. I'm out of here. We had just had the 3rd year anniversary. The brass, everybody was up in this piece. You know how we get down? We did some entertainment. I know somebody can sing up in this piece. I know somebody is funny up in this piece. And so I know somebody is creative up in here. But they turned us loose to be creative. And I gotta touch on that. Because your creativity is your lifeline, baby. That is the essence of who you are. And getting high takes us away from it. But it is your essence, every single one of us. That makes us want to get up in the morning, whether you are aware of it or not. There were times in my life where I could have a sense, man, I'm going to do something one day. I didn't even like my name Biggie. Because I thought they gave it to me because I had a big head or something. You know how stupid kids think, right? So by the time I became a teenager, yo, I didn't even tell nobody I had no nickname. In my 40s, yo, y'all. I was with my Uncle Piggy. All my uncles, Piggy, Bing Tor, Chasey, and Hentet. They named me Biggie. They came to Harlem Hospital to see me when I was born. In my 40s, I was with my Uncle Piggy. I said, Uncle Piggy, let me ask you. Oh, why did y'all give me that name, Biggie? Yo, fellas. He said, because we all knew you were gonna do big things. I was like, yo, how could y'all know that? I embraced it. I want to tell you more importantly, when I embraced it, I embraced my essence. Y'all hear me? Anybody hearing me up in here? They knew what they were saying. There have been people in your life that have said wonderful things about you. Believe it. It's true. It has to do with your essence. I cannot tell you how many days, man, that I spent in the dumps where I could hear a staff member from this program. Malcolm, you can do anything that you want to do. You have the ability. May 1st, 1974, I performed as part of the festivities. I performed, and Dr. Fred Sheftel said to me, Malcolm, you should develop your acting skills. It pierced the darkness, yo. 3 years later, I was on a plane going to the University of Southern California. I got accepted to their BFA drama program. Yeah, I was the token. I was the only brother up in that piece. You know. But that was the result, yo. Hey, I got love for y'all, man. I got love for each and every one of y'all. I had love for y'all before I even got here, before I ever seen any of your faces. Have love for each other. One of my best friends came up out of here, man. For real. One of my best friends came up out of this piece. And dudes that was here, some of them gonna be at the book sign tomorrow. The original Lip House crew. You'll get to see some of them. But back in the day, they had names like Roguish Pete, and Cooter Red, and Turk and Augie Doggy. Oh, I'm telling you, we had a resident up in here that got busted, this before he came to Lip House, got busted, refused the public defender against the state, yo, defended himself, and won the case. Wow. There's brilliant minds up in this piece. You ain't got to tell me. I know. Tap into your brilliance, yo. Thank you for your time, fellas. If you ever want me to come back again, I'll ride a bicycle from Atlanta if I got you. All right? Thank you.
You guys are glad to be here today?
Very happy to be here today. We've known the Spears family since I was a child, and she grew up with his uncles. So it's just nice to see the journey that he's come along and that he continues to go down.
Hey, we just got in from the west side.
Don't forget the east side.
On our way to the east side.
Okay. East side is
That's where we started.
East
side. Brook Street in the house.
That's right.
Chapel Street in the house.
Avenue.
Avenue in the house. That's right. Holly Place in the house. Hawthorne. This is Hawthorne. Come on in here. This is original East Side. It's Hawthorne. That's Hawthorne Street right there. That's what's up.
I had the pleasure and honor of doing an interview with Malcolm and with Alan Mathis, the president and CEO of Liberation Programs, about a week and a half ago. And so I would say as someone myself in recovery, something that I always offer to people who are newly coming into sobriety, into the program, is hope. And for me, that's really what Malcolm's book is all about, and also what Liberation Programs I can see has offered to so many people in this community. And so I applaud Malcolm for all that he has done with his life, and also applaud Liberation Programs for all that they've done since the early 70s, when a very young Malcolm Spears first came through their doors. So thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it over now to Johnny Malloy.
Hi, thank you all for being here today. I'm short, I'm sorry about this. This is great. This has been quite an undertaking, and the most exciting part of it for us is to be able to celebrate Malcolm's accomplishments. Biggie, his uncles were right when they nicknamed him Biggie, because I do think that he is destined to do big things. And that has been to have a life that is one that we can celebrate. He has been in recovery now for 40 years. Just definitely something to celebrate. We have just a few people I would like to acknowledge. Karen Sheftel. Where's Karen? Karen, hello. How are you? Karen's husband, Dr. Fred Sheftel, was one of the first people responsible for getting Liberation Programs, Liberation House started in STAMFORD some 45 years ago, 2016, yeah. 2016 marks Liberation Program's 45th anniversary. And we're very excited to have her here to share in this sort of full circle that we've come. What we're going to do right now is we do have our STAMFORD mayor who's here. I'm going to ask him to come up and just say a few words.
Thank you, Johnny. I think I'm a little taller than you are. I actually didn't know that I'd be here. I came down and was doing a little bit with our pedestrian planning on the Bedford Street, and I kind of timed it so if I could, I'd be here because Johnny invited me the other day. A man came up to me, actually came up to Alan, and basically said that he'd been afflicted with drug addiction since I can't remember the details, but since, you know, early teenager, or maybe 11 or 10 or 12 or something like that, been living on the streets. And he's been at Liberation Programs now for 60 days, and he's changing his life around. I don't know who loves you. I'm not looking at him, it's up to him, but I tell you that we want you here. We don't want you gone. And I want to thank Alan and Liberation Programs for saving one more. There's a lot more that needs saving, but thank you so much. And I truly, our heart goes out to you. I know it's a struggle. I know it's a battle. It's a worthwhile battle. Good luck to you. And I know that Liberation Programs will do what they can. So in any event, let me get off my sad note for a moment. This is part of one of the successes here. And all I know is that he grew up in STAMFORD. He's got a book. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get a signature on that book. And I'm done, Johnny.
I'm going to introduce my boss now. I'm going to turn this over to the President and CEO of Liberation Programs, Alan Mathis.
I am speechless. I'm really moved by what you said, Mr. Mayor. Really. That was more than a speech. I told Malcolm, we've done a bunch of interviews, Malcolm, I love you like a brother. You are a wonderful, exceptional gift. I'm glad I had the opportunity to meet you. And so I'm going to take my seat and bring Biggie on, okay? Are you able to hear? Okay. Yo, what's up? Oh, wow. My goodness, as I look around this room,
I see reflections of my formative experience. Wow. Professor James Wilson, who you just heard from, and the late Dr. Fred Sheftel simply asked me to do within about a span of 3 years. The first being in the winter of 1979, when I came to Lib House to tell everybody that I got accepted to USC. And I came into the clinic and everybody was celebrating, and Fred was there, Dr. Sheftel. And he says, Malcolm, you ought to write a book about your formative years. I think it would inspire. Well, I was like a deer in headlights. Huh? Oh, woo. And as I drove home, I simply thought, well, you know, I have a successful career, and somebody want to write my story. All right? I get on a plane. I fly 3,000 miles to Los Angeles. I'm in college now. The BFA, baby. You know? And about a year or so in, my professor, James Wilson, says, Malcolm, write a book. It'll inspire. I did the deer in headlights again, okay? Huh? A what? Book? I didn't even think I had the ability or aptitude to do such a thing. Their words haunted me, literally, over the years. I was at Emory University on a temp assignment, and I was looking at the computer. I was on a break, and I saw Fred on this side and Jim on this side. Malcolm, write a book. And I started. And there were years where there was nothing. I was a single parent raising 2 vibrant children, gifted, challenging. Anybody got kids? Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I always would go back to it. It was like God always gave me this space and time and quiet. I would call people up. I was like, listen, I would like to read this to you and just tell me the truth. Everybody was so encouraging. That finally, Al Thomas Jr., who was the financial aid director at Norwood Community College and now is over admissions. I'm on the phone, that's one of my brothers. He said, yo, Mal, listen, I think you should put everything else aside and finish this book, man. So I did. I don't want to be long with it, but I got to tell you all this, okay? It's like I didn't have no idea about publishing, proofreading, any of those things. Fast forward, last November, I'm talking to Keithy Simmons on the phone, right? He tells me to come up to the Jackie Robinson Christmas party. I got a Jackie Robinson story. I was a baseball player. He wrote me a letter. So that was my segue. Come up and build your mailing list. A couple of days later, I get a call from a guy named Kwame, who's on the board of directors, Liberation Programs. He says, I heard about you. I saw you there. Are you hungry? You know, like, we going to eat? But he said, send me your stuff. So I did. And then he asked me if I wanted to meet the board of directors. And I was like, of Lib House? I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm with that. Let's do it. So that turned into a meeting with the CEO, AKA HNIC. Okay, y'all? I went there. And so in the meeting, we're talking, and with the lovely Johnny Malloy, and wow, everybody had a crush on Maggie, okay? Maggie Young. And Alan says, Malcolm, we'd like to partner with you. And I cried. I cried. About 2 weeks later, they said, Malcolm, could we see an excerpt of your book? And I was like, okay. I was writing and rewriting still. So I said, I'm going to send them how I got busted, how I got to Liberation House, and the Liberation House experience. About a month later, I got an email. Malcolm, we want to publish your book. Come on, somebody. Come on. Ooh, Lord. I said, Lord. Woo. I said, yo, you up in here now, G. You up in here. And so I am here, in my humble estimation, to simply fulfill some words spoken over me as a kid that I didn't even like. I didn't like Biggie. I thought they gave me the name because I had a big head or something. You know how stupid kids think, right? In my 40s, I'm with my Uncle Piggy. Now, yo, it's Hentech, Bing Toy, Piggy, and Chase. All right? Holla if you knew them. All right now. They're in Harlem Hospital looking at this newborn baby. And I don't know what they said. They just came up with, that's Biggie. In my 40s, I asked one of my uncles, my Uncle Piggy, I said, Uncle Piggy, can I ask you a question? I said, why did y'all give me that name, Biggie? You know? He said, Big, he said, look, he said, when you were born, he said, we all knew that you were going to do big things. And I thought, wow, really? 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 I was like, how could you know? And I've embraced it. And so very simply, my objective is to fulfill the words spoken over me. And whomever may benefit, in addition to myself, from living it. I got love, and that's what I got to give, because that's what people like Dr. Fred Sheftel and Michael A. Harris and Ted Tan and Beverly Traynor and Gregory Palmer and Pam Burkell and Louis DePietro and Patty Harrington and Harry Laban and Larry Farr and Silas. When I stood before Judge Callahan, Larry Farr said, look, you get high? I was like, yeah. He said, okay, cool. This is what we're going to do. We're going to try to get you in Liberation House. That was a defining moment in my adolescence. That was it. God. I told Alan, when y'all need some money, call me. Plain and simple. When y'all trying to raise money for this, just call me. Bring me up here. Liberation House spoke words to me that pierced the darkness in my soul. And I became alive. There was something telling me that I was going to do something one day, but it kept getting covered over by all this stuff. Guilt, depression, low self-esteem. Now I'm going to get high. Because I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of thinking like this. So, if you need an advocate for change, an advocate for results, I'm your dude. So many of you in this room took part in my formative years. So when you recognize where you at in this story, don't call me. Don't go. Just know I love you. And your names have been changed to protect the guilty. Okay? Except for a few nicknames like Lightbulb. Me and this kid go from diapers, literally. We were in the same baby contest together. Right? So, wow. Am I supposed to read now? Okay. Wow. Excerpt number 1. Okay, here we go. I'm going to wing it. Okay. In a desperate mental search of ways to get paid, I was struck by an idea as we passed a corner store owned by an old white man. Yeah, you guessed it. We stopped just past the store in front of an old Pentecostal church that had hosted some of the best teen parties on the planet. We needed a strategy for how to do it quick, fast, and in a hurry, without hurting the old man. I figured he'd make his money back in a few days, no big deal. We needed an empty store and a non-violent approach to get the money. I came up with a technique I thought would work. I picked up a foot-long stick and put it through the hole in the pocket of my black bear fur coat to give the appearance of a gut in my coat. Now, Troy and I agreed it looked good. I rehearsed a few times and then went into the store to case the joint until the owner was alone. Troy was to call him to an aisle in search of a product, now while I perused the store, then take the product to the counter for payment. Once the old man was behind the register, I would then approach and make the announcement. This is a stick-up. At least I wasn't lying. I had a stick-up in my coat. The old man was too slow about giving up the money, so I gave him an open pop upside the head to speed up the process. It worked. Troy and I sped out the door in different directions as planned. He took the back street while I sped up the main drag. Now at this point, I was a little full of myself, carrying the money. I was on my way home. I had no thought of getting caught, so I threw caution to the wind. I could have hidden out an hour and a half or more in my Uncle Bing Toy's barbershop, or at least 2 other honeys' cribs that I passed en route. About 3/4 way up the hill, I began to tire from the effects of the weed I smoked earlier. But I kept pushing. Suddenly, I heard sirens, and in a moment, police cars emerged from both directions. I sat down on the sidewalk in the drizzling rain, busted. I was held up against the police car, searched, handcuffed, and put in the vehicle. There was a haunting silence en route to the station. Upon arrival, I was taken into a room where several officers were seated. I recognized one of them. He had come to our apartment on the east side years ago on a domestic violence call. After I identified myself, he asked me if I knew 2 other men who held my last name. I said, yeah, they were my uncles. They both had criminal history. Then I was asked to tell what happened. I told him I put a stick in my coat pocket, went into the store, walked up to the counter, pointed the stick in my coat at the owner and said, this is a stick up, give me the money. They looked at each other and started laughing. The tension in the room broke. I was amazed, by their reaction and thought, hey, maybe if I offer to apologize to the old man and return the money, they let me go home. Not. Yeah. So, I was fingerprinted. They took a mug shot, put me in a cell. I was 17. I didn't hear anything about Troy, so I assumed he didn't get caught. I didn't snitch on him either. I felt like crying, but I held it in. That evening, I was escorted with other prisoners to North Avenue Detention Center in Bridgeport again. We were all put in a holding cell called the bullpen, awaiting screening before the prison population going in. After being strip searched, I showered and put on the blue khaki uniform I was given. I was escorted to the cell I would share with another inmate. The guard gave me a sheet and a blanket to sleep with. The bed was springs on a wall unit and a thin mattress. During my weekend stay, I spoke to a few homies from Stanford, but I kept to myself, pondering my fate in court on Monday morning. Thank you.
So I think we were going to have a little conversation, and there might be another part for you to read
Yes.
there too. So I have a 17-year-old daughter, and so I'm just thinking of what that must have felt like as a 17-year-old. Were you frightened?
That's an understatement. Yes, I was. I was frightened. I was scared. Oh man, I was depressed. I knew I had really messed up, and I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. See, I always had a plan B. I thought I was a little slick. You feel me? I mean, the whole concept of the stick, I thought it was ingenious personally. And it worked. So I'm running up the street. I'm like, yo, Negro, you's a bad dude. Until I heard them sirens. Right.
So did you see yourself as a criminal?
On my 18th birthday, I opened my eyes in prison in Cheshire. And this is what I said. My mama did not raise no criminal. But here I was, a convicted felon at 18.
So I think there's another part for you to read there about how you got into liberation programs.
Okay. Yes? Okay. Okay. I was approached by a resident who told me he had written a play entitled The Reincarnation of a Butterfly. Now, he wanted me for the lead. You know, it was about a youth at a crossroad in his life. He'd observed me fooling around on occasion and believed I had talent. He pitched his idea to staff, and they said yes. At the end of a rehearsal for the play, the writer-director said he believed I was a genius. I stood before him shocked and speechless. No one had ever said anything like that to me before. Then he said it again. I struggled to believe him because we were not taught to embrace such perceptions of ourselves for fear of becoming egotistical. In retrospect, I wish we lived in a society where peers are encouraged to acknowledge and promote the genius in each other. Y'all can clap right there. Yes. Liberation House was GI'd from top to bottom, and the living room decorated with awnings symbolic of its anniversary. We all dressed in attire fit for this festive occasion. Those assigned scurried to their places to greet the guests as they arrived. Within an hour, several hundred people were seated, and the program began. It's showtime! The MC introduced each act. Everyone gave a stellar performance. The play opens with me hanging out with dudes on the street who want to get some drugs. I don't give in to the peer pressure and am left alone. While contemplating my life in a conversation with my conscience, I began to cry. Suddenly, a stranger appears. He talked and told me where I could get help with changing my life. Liberation House. He offered to take me there, and we walked off together. The end. The cast returned for a standing ovation. It was a little overwhelming, but it felt good. Performing seemed to come natural to me. I loved it. And that concludes this portion of our program. Thank you and good night. As our guests said their goodbyes and cleanup started, the medical director of Liberation House congratulated me on my performances and thought I should consider developing my acting skills. I was moved in my spirit and thanked him. There was a moment of eye contact that was affirming to me, but he had no idea. His words pierced the darkness, and you know the rest. The evening progressed, and as if still in character, I continued to ponder my current reality and realized that I had come to my own crossroads. After 2+ years at Liberation House, I was tired of being there. I wanted to go home. I had given my all. I was honest in my effort to change and held nothing back. I had healed and matured. I felt good about myself, and my conscience was clear. I believed that if I was given a chance, I could make it. I had no desire for drugs or anything related to a dysfunctional lifestyle. I knew the change in me was real, and no one could dissuade me of that. I informed the staff member on duty that I was leaving. So he called me into an office with a group of Phase 2 peers to discuss my decision. I thanked them for all our time together and what I had learned. I couldn't explain it any further. I knew in my heart it was time to go. And so, on the evening of May 1st, 1976, exactly 2 years from the day I returned from prison, I walked down the stairs and out the front door of Liberation House. Of the many times I walked out that door on Liberation House business, I knew this was my final exit. I'd reached a point of no return. It felt weird, but oh, so liberating. It was a new day, and I was ready for it. In 1994, 18 years later, I received a full pardon for my felony by the Connecticut State Board of Pardons. Y'all can clap there. And a sidebar, when I got on that elevator, it was packed, and I just started crying. The goodness of God. The Liberation House staff was some of the most brilliant, compassionate, caring, resourceful, and ingenious people I have
ever known. Give it up. Without controversy, Liberation House was one of the best experiences of my life. And if I had to do it all again, handcuff me. Let's do this thing. Whew. It was the first time in my life that I did not feel like a black man in a white institution. I felt like a human being among other human beings working together to save and change our lives. Thank you. Much love.
So when the mayor was speaking earlier, and also just hearing your story, it's, you know, I just think of all the lives that have been saved through a place like Liberation House, and the talents and the genius and people just getting their ordinary lives back together is really amazing, and such an exceptional life as Malcolm's. Can you take a few questions?
Sure.
Anyone have any questions or any comments you would like to make?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Right there. You want to use the mic? You might want to use the mic, yeah. Oh. Can I take this out?
So in the years since you came into recovery, what have you been doing to maintain your recovery over this long period? That's extraordinary period of time. So what have you been? How have you maintained your recovery in all this time?
Okay, the word I'm going to use is knack, okay? And that stands for building relationships in my life that nurture me, affirm me, and correct me. It's really that simple. My journey was something that people seemed to be interested in for one reason or another. And so I was very careful to be as transparent and gracious and tolerant, because I realized that most of the people that I encountered had not had an Liberation House experience. And just for the record, there was no place on this planet like Liberation House. It was a collaborative of therapeutic concepts and principles that were merged together. It was actually an experiment that turned out to be Liberation Programs Incorporated. But let me say this to you. Talking about divine providence, Mr. Alan Mathis just so happened to be hired on May 1st. Y'all give that up. When he said that to me, I was like, I just saw the thread. I was like, you up in here, G? You supposed to be here. I asked, I said, on May 1st, 1973, 2 questions. One, how old were you? And the second question was, what were your dreams? Because on that day, 2 men launched a dream. They launched a vision that has changed the lives of so many and will continue to. Amen? Next question. Oh, that's my big brother right there. That's my first big brother right there, Mr. Larry Hughes. Go ahead, Larry.
First, may I approach the bench, Your Honor?
Absolutely. Excuse me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Larry Hughes, and first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to just come up here and say congratulations to my little brother here. And I want to present him with something that he's a part of for life.
Straight out of Stanford, yo.
Out of Stanford.
Thank you very much.
Just this comment, I'm gonna go sit back down. This is your time.
Okay.
But I will say this right here. I too am an alumni of the Liberation Program. Some years ago, I was stumbling, fumbling through the dark, trying to find my way too. And they were so instrumental and helping me get grounded. You know, I was one of those ones who was still trying to retain his position on the research committee. And it took me a minute, but through it all, I managed to maintain some of the coping skills that were delivered to me in the process of the Liberation Program. And to those who don't know, it is an enlightening experience. It's one that you'll never forget. I had something I had written for you when I'm just coming in from Virginia, as you know, so that is left somewhere, but I want to give you this because it's your story too. These words and rhyme to write took some time. The thoughts are still fresh in my head. I wanted to get high and red in my eyes, but I came to hear Biggie speak instead. I remember the times back on the block copping dimes, shit, everybody wanted to play. The girls would be freaky, I'd be so high I was geeky, I couldn't ask for a better way. But then one morning it came without warning. I was dead broke, flat out of money. Without no cash, and nothing in my stash, hey, you know this shit wasn't funny. What would I do to make it through this tragic twist of fate? I fell on my knees and I begged God, please help me. I made a mistake. Now I see there's hope for me on my road to recovery. Serenity is clearer every day. If I pick up and use, it's solely for me to choose, but no longer dumb, and knowing the outcome, it's mandatory that I say no way. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Now I'm in fantastic health. I mean, hey, what can I say? I got rid of the strife that was plaguing my life, and I decided to do it the Liberation Program's way. Thank you.
When you get a minute, my mama says she want to say something. That's that pretty lady right over there. You want to take the mic over to her? Take the mic over to her, please. See, because right up front here, that pretty lady with the black hat.
Hello, everybody. This is such a blessed time for all of us to be together. And God makes no mistakes. I give God the glory how he saved my son's life. And because of it, he will be able to be instrumental in saving others because of his testimony. It was not an easy path for a mother to have to take, but with God, all things are possible. And when we trust him and we share our heart, then there comes the reward. Why? Because our God is faithful. He will never leave us nor forsake us. And we can stand on what the Word of God says. We are more than conquerors. God bless you all. And thank you for coming.
My name is John Bassler, and I'm a proud board member of Liberation Programs. Thank you for writing your book. Thank you, Larry Hughes. I love the fact that your mother said, God does not make junk, and none of us are junk. But I am sure, even though fortunately I've been blessed I am an addict, but I am not a drug addict. And it is such a powerful story that more and more people should have. And as it turns out, our church is having a reconciliation Sunday tomorrow. This is First Congregational Church in Darien, Connecticut. And we have a Mr. Palmer from Atlanta, Paul Smith. Some of you may know who he is. And we are hoping to have a discussion that will bring us together. And I have really a question for you, too.
Yes, sir.
I have some good friends who unfortunately are parents of addicts.
Yes, sir.
What advice do you have that I could share with them? Because they are hurting like your mother was when you were, in a bad place.
Well, I'm going to share with you what my mother shared with me. And she was at St. John's Episcopal Church, where we grew up at. Y'all can give that up. I was a choir boy, too. My mother sat down with one of the pastors. I was having one of my delinquent challenges, and she shared, and he responded. And what my mother said to me is that she will never, ever, ever give up. I hope that's of some encouragement to you, sir. My mother has earned the right to say that. It works. It's real. Because in my dark days, I could not see my way. And there were moments where I could hear the sound. True story. I was in Brooklyn, New York at King Plaza Mall. I had felt like I had totally blown my whole life. I was working with the maintenance company. I was in the bathroom scrubbing a toilet bowl. After I cleaned it, the water settled, and I saw my image. And that still small voice said, "It's not over." Simply. And I believed that. I couldn't see from the next moment, the next hour, and so forth, but I believed that. And that's why it's so important. Those are words that pierce. So, to those parents, encourage them to continue to speak words that will pierce the darkness in their loved one's soul. It is never in vain. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman back there who's one of my spiritual brothers. His name is Al Thomas Jr. And I was at a critical moment in my life. And I remember he came to me and he said very simply, he said, "Man, why don't you get out of here?" And he did not know. Those were words of light in my soul. And I took heed and I left. And that's where hope grabbed a hold of me. For all y'all who can share the experience of God grabbing a hold of you, y'all feeling me. There is nothing like it. Ain't no coming back from it. I ain't scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared that somebody could put something on me. Yo, Mal, come get this dime, this 8-ball, this. That's gone. I was in a dormitory, true story, with Al Bucky Thomas Jr. coming back from a funeral from one of our dear friends. And people was doing their thing. And this voice spoke to me and it said, "Malcolm, you will go this way no more." And it ended. And it will end for a lot more of us. We got something to do, y'all. Can't stop this. You can't stop this. I've not met anyone that has been able to refute love, unconditional. And that's what we have to give. That's what's given to me. And that's what I'm going to give. Because at the end of the day, I believe in you. And the reason why I believe in you is because I believe in me. Next question.
I don't have a question. Well, I do have a question. And then I have a comment and a couple words of encouragement.
That's my baby brother right there. Go ahead.
First question is, and I think just because you said that, your baby brother, I don't believe I was Troy. Who was Troy?
Who?
No, you don't have to answer that. But wow, man, the reason why I'm here is because where I come from and where you come from, which is a total different planet here today in Stamford, Connecticut. Where we come from, till today, I don't know of anybody, drugs, yes, but who have written a book. That was enough to pull me out. That was enough to draw me in. Something is happening here. Yeah, we do Facebook. Yeah, we do the blast from the past. But a book signing, something magnificent is happening here. And I am personally a part of that magnificence in my own little life. So what you're doing is just a testament of that. We all travel different paths, and every single one of us have our story. And we don't all have to travel the same road to get to where you and I are. But it will be the same place in principle. It will be. And I'm just proud, man, to see that you are living life. Because this ain't the end. Because as soon as this book signing is over, it's back on. You having a moment now, but it's back on as soon as the comments and the congratulatories and all of that. Life is going to be right back there waiting for Malcolm Spears and Eugene Burns. But thank God that God has done for me and is doing for me more than I can do for myself. There is a God. And I'm not on some religious tip here. I'm saying there is a power in the universe that's for good. If you do the right thing for the right reason, you will get paid. And I'm just happy, Malcolm, man. I really love you, man. We go back so far. We go back so far, man. I'm just proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you, man. And if I don't see you for 20 years, you need to know that I'm proud of you, man. This is the evidence of a great thing that's happening in your life. And I'm a read that book. I'm a reader. I love to read. I'm going to get that book, and I'm going to read that book.
And like I said, don't call me.
I have to tell Malcolm how proud I am of him. I was there when Malcolm first started in
73.
73. And the program in the house, we came here in June of 72. We came to Connecticut, June 26th of 1972. And that's when it all started. And you came in 73, and I was there in and out. I didn't work there, but I always showed up. I would take my kids for dinner to Liberation House because they had to see their father sometime, right? And we would eat in the, I don't know if it's still there, the cafeteria. We would eat upstairs.
It's still there.
Still there.
There it is.
And my son learned to play basketball in the back.
Yes.
And the wonderful thing about that you said is it's a family.
Yes.
And it was a family that with warmth, but also structure.
Yes.
And it taught people that you can love and you can be harsh. You know, you can love, but yet, hey, you can't get away with that. And there were many nights that Malcolm was in a group till 3, 4 in the morning.
Well.
Right? Or all night.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And so what I'm seeing today just warms my heart. Because I was there when Liberation programs and House and Youth Options and, right? And all the all the counselors from the schools used to come to Liberation programs in-service courses.
Yes.
And it was just such a wonderful place, and how proud that it's still in existence and that Stamford is lucky enough to have it.
Yes.
And that Stamford is lucky enough, and I don't, and what bothers me, that it has to get its due because it's really a gem. And I'm very proud of you for everything you did. And always.
Yes, love forever. Forever. Can I make an acknowledgement of another alumnus? I have Mrs. Hope Elliott in the back there, who is the widow of Carl Elliott. Could you please stand, please? And Carl's son, Lance, would you please stand, sir? His father and her husband were one of my best friends, and we met in the Liberation House. And I have a dedication to him in the book. But I want to tell you, this woman has heard this book from first consonant to last period about at least 9 times in the journey of how we met and got reconnected, because she didn't even know me. I'm going to talk about that. My next speaking engagement, Alan, I'm going to talk about the story of how all this happened and how all this happened. She has heard that book at least 9 times. I'm serious. We would be up until like sunlight. It'd be like, it's breakfast. You hungry? She stood by me. And I am so proud to see her son today, who I have not seen since the passing of his father. His dad said to me, Malcolm, you need to get out of here, man. This town's too small for you. You got big dreams. Those were words, light. I carry them with me to this very day. And I want everybody right now to reflect upon the people in your journey that have spoken light into your soul. Whether you realize it or not, it got you here today. And let it take you on in your journey of having and living for a sense of purpose. The love that you receive, give it back. Give it back. The kids, they need it. Hold on, sir. I'm going to give you your time. This is the true story. I came out of a nightclub on an audition one night. And I'm walking across the street. And all of a sudden I hear, Mr. Malcolm, Mr. Malcolm. And I turn. And it was a young adult who was a kid in our church. He's a comedian. His name is Fat Man. I was like, what up, Fat Man? He said, Mr. Malcolm, come here, man. He said, Mr. Malcolm, listen, man, I got to tell you something, man. It's like all of us growing up, Mr. Malcolm said, we got love for you. He said, because you never judged us. Right in front of all these peers, they was hitting their joints and, all like that. And then he said, Mr. Malcolm, listen, God want me to tell you something. He said, God's going to do right on the corner, y'all. He said, God's going to do some extraordinary things in your life, Mr. Malcolm. He said, we need you. He said, we need your swag, man. Right on the corner, y'all. I could have got on my knees. I was like, this kid is prophesying over me. Who does that? God. We got to make a movie. When y'all get through, y'all be feeling me on that. We got to make a movie. We got to make a statement. Don't nobody know about this? How we grew up, what we grew up through. Who went to Rice School? Who had Mrs. Watts? You was in my class. Angela Edwards was in my class on December 22nd, 1963 at about 12:30, and y'all know the rest. Y'all know the rest. The world needs to see our story as told through an adolescent who grew up in it. We got to make a movie. Well, one thing at a time. Wherever y'all can book me to speak, bring me, please. We got to build momentum. We got to tap into the lifeline of everybody, and that's their heart, to get up, and whatever you got to give that. If it's your time, your time. If it's your education, your education. If it's your money, give it up. Somebody say, give it up. Give it up. That's what's up. Next question.
All right. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Over here.
Talking so loud. How you doing, Mr. Spears? It's a pleasure to see you, man, and be here amongst this crowd. And
Yes, sir.
it seems like it's a coming out party because I haven't seen all these faces that I remember for so long in a long time.
Andre! Oh, excuse me. Oh, shoot! Andre! Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Excuse me. I had to do that. And when y'all see the movie, y'all know why. Go ahead, Dre. Go ahead, man.
Oh, boy. But, you know, I was talking to you a little while ago over the phone, and we got to talking about quite a few things. And what I was interested in was, you know, I heard about the name of the book, Biggie's Chronicles, and it just took me back because I was thrown off. Biggie's Chronicles. I think first thing I was asking you, where did the name come from? Because right away I'm thinking about people like the notorious Biggie Smalls. I mean, the B.I.G. and the Biggie Smalls and people like that, you know? So it just came to my attention. I just wanted to ask you that particular question. Where did Biggie's Chronicles derive from?
Okay. Do you remember my Uncle Bing toy? My Uncle Piggy and Chasey, and Big Spears, Hintech. They all came to Harlem Hospital to see me when I was born. They looked in on me and they said, that's Biggie. And growing up, Dre, I didn't like the nickname. That's why you never heard about it. It wasn't until the only people like Carl Gray, a.k.a. Lightbulb, Curtis Doomis, Doom Doom, Arnie Jr. Doom, David Dixon Tootie, and Vincent Oliver Yams. And I was Biggie, the littlest, the smallest, right? They knew. When I was in my 40s, I was with my Uncle Piggy one day, and I asked him why they gave me this name. He said, because we all knew that you were gonna do big things. I was like, whoa, really? I embraced it. Hey, Val, how you doing, boo? Next question.
Hi, how's everything? I just wanted to say something because I'm currently in Liberation House, and I've been on the streets. I've been on the streets of Bridgeport, Connecticut, growing up in Father Panic Village, and since I was 12 years old, I've been prone to making some bad choices and taking on some very ugly, dark routes. And as a result, I had been on heroin and cocaine like most of my life. And so, like a book, I'm closing a chapter. And I want to close this chapter because I want to live a different life. And so, I was jumping out of my seat because I never thought that I would be somewhere like this, you know, ever, to meet the mayor and shake the mayor's hand and meet Mr. Mathis and all that. So it's amazing to me, and it's a gut-heart feeling. And so I just wanted to thank everybody, and good luck. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Look forward to reading your book.
Blessing to you, too. Yes.
I agree with the gentleman who spoke earlier. Something magnificent has really happened here this afternoon. My heart is full, and thank you very much to all of you for coming. Thank you so much, Malcolm. It's just...
Oh, wonderful. Hold on, y'all.
I didn't think Johnny's going to...
Question right here? Yes.
Hi, my name is Deborah Holmes, and I grew up in Southfield Village, and Malcolm and I have been friends since childhood, but I didn't see him around 17, 18 years old until about 5 years ago, so it was great to hear from him. We were having a conversation, and he was telling me that he was working on a book, and when I listened to it, I told him, this is a book about hope. And so as I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner that night, I started writing, and I wrote a poem I'd like to share with you. It's called, What Do You Dare to Hope For? The power of hope challenges you to dare to want, to eagerly wish for, long and short, to desire beyond your heart's content. The power of hope defies all odds. Remember, never say I can't. It forces you to create using your senses to reach heights unimaginable. Getting out, coming back, turning around, to redirecting life because of hope. Hope, that energy, that drive, the thing that gives promise for the future. A craving of what's to come, a longing for based on a pledge or need. Hope. Hidden manifestation of subjective, objective, spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical action because of or as a result of the interconnectedness in our cycles of life. That nudging at our soul that won't stop, irregardless of where you are, opening doors unbeknownst to you. Hope, a growing appetite you can't seem to shake or choose not to. An innate urge growing beyond your realm of understanding. To look past where we were, are, and soon to be. Did you anticipate this? A sexual, sensitive, compassionate place. Yielding specific results, desire prompted by hope. The power of hope is inspirational, and you are an inspiration, Malcolm. Remember that. It encourages life to flourish and is motivated by the expectation of fulfillment. What do you dare to hope for?
Biggie, just wanted to say I love you, man. We go back to diapers, literally. His mama probably changed me 7 times. That's why he used to call me Stinky. But anyway, I just want to give you a hug, man. Because, see, Malcolm, in 1996, when I fell back, my stepfather, Carly Robinson, and Malcolm was on the phone. And they said, Carl, you're going to get together one day. God's going to bless you. And Malcolm just spoke those words into my life. In 1999, I was set free. Still free to be free. And I thank you, Biggie. Some plant, some water, God gives the increase. This is the increase.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Thank you so much. Is this on? This has been so inspirational. This has been, I don't know, it's something that really touches you inside to have so many people in the room that have so many connections to one another. And I think that as we look at what this is all about, it's really all about a dream coming true, never giving up, and always knowing that it's not the end. There's still something that's going to be coming on later on. We're going to wrap up the program now. Malcolm is going to be here for a while. We're going to all talk to each other and share stories, and there's refreshments in the back. There's books up here. But we're going to close all of this off with a lovely lady named Victoria I. And she is going to come up here and close this out for us with something incredibly inspirational. Victoria?
Yeah, my sisters, Dorothy Robin, my ex-wife Jackie, my family. Yeah, that's my family over there. Hey, yo, for the movie, to the left, that's Cookie right there. That's Cookie. That's Cookie right there. And that's Robin right there, the chocolate baby. When y'all get to that part, that's who that is right there. And this is Jackie, the mother of my children, my ex-wife. Okay.
Now, Victoria?
Hi, I just want to say something really quickly. First of all, I want to thank Malcolm so much. He's been in my life ever since I can remember. I'm going to sing a song for you, and ever since I was really little, when I first started singing, he would say, "Girl, you can sing." And he would be with my father, and they'd be listening to me in the living room, singing my heart out. My song is called "A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes." A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams keep. Have faith in your dreams, and someday your rainbow will come smiling through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're feeling small. Yeah, alone in the night you whisper, thinking no one can hear you at all. You wake with the morning sunrise to find fortune that is smiling on you. Don't let your heart be filled with sorrow, for all you know, tomorrow the dream that you wish will come true. Yeah, yeah. When you're fast asleep, oh, ooh, whatever you wish for, you keep. Oh, you wake with the morning sunrise to find fortune that is smiling on you. Don't let your heart be filled with sorrow, for all you know, tomorrow the dream that you wish will come true. Yeah, come true.
All right, everyone. Book signing over here, refreshments.
No doubt.
Got cookie?
Okay, hold on, babe. Oh, wait.
I was thinking about you the other day. Yeah,
Was he taking our picture?
Yeah. You got your smile,
Do that too.
Yeah. So you ready? Look at that.
Yes, sir.
That was great words of wisdom, inspiration, and love, brother. Put it down.
Much like what you were saying on that video that I liked you in.
Mom, what you want me to say? What you want to hear? Oh, just in that?
Oh my God, great. Oh, you can talk to me. Wow, what's your name?
He's being psyched. You know what? This is called right here. This is my classmate.
Mommy said, Lori, I'm finally getting to meet Jackie. Uncle Carl, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Sugar bar sometime.
Victoria, okay.
You can just write out here. You can just write
We got
Aunt Mary.
Aunt Mary. Love you forever.